What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go ahead and continue our most powerful series where we've covered different characters in the past, but today I wanted to take a different approach. In the last few, we've covered characters that have all appeared on film in a Star Wars movie. That's Qui-Gon Jinn, I believe we did one on Snoke, and also Mace Windu. So today I wanted to go and do an Old Republic character, a character that doesn't appear in the typical Star Wars movie, that's a little bit deeper diving into the Star Wars lore. So today we're going to be talking about how powerful was the false Emperor Malgus.
Yes.
Darth Malgus, of course, Old Republic era. He reigned during an era where there was not the rule of two. There's a plentiful amount of Sith in the galaxy, and each Sith has a design-specific role. Malgus's role was a warrior and a conqueror. He was never meant to be a Sith Emperor, and he was not really a Sith acolyte, meaning one that focused on the greater mysteries of the Force.
Yeah.
Darth Malgus was a full-fledged warrior, and he was a full-fledged conqueror.
He only used the Force in ways where it would help him beat the crap out of people and kill them. But he wasn't so much interested in the broader, more spiritual side of it. And that made him like the greatest warrior at the time of the Old Republic era of Star Wars.
Certainly the era that he was alive in. He was one of the greatest.
Yeah, exactly.
He was definitely one of, if not the greatest warrior. In single combat, he was nearly unparalleled. He fought some of the most powerful Jedi that we've ever seen in Star Wars, especially during that era. Again, the Jedi themselves are more warrior-oriented than ever before. You have to remember, in the Clone Wars, the Jedi are really powerful, but they're just entering this kind of massive full-scale conflict. In the Old Republic era, the Jedi and the Sith and the Jedi are warring with the underworld. It's like a common thing.
Yeah.
So the Jedi are specifically bred for lightsaber combat because they're fighting more Sith more often, and as opposed to the Clone Wars when there's only two true Sith and then dark Jedi scattered throughout.
Yeah.
In this time, the Sith are frequency, and so are the Jedi. So again, as a result of that, Malgus fought some of the most proficient lightsaber duelists that we've ever seen in Star Wars. Let's just go ahead and name a few. Venzalo was the Grand Master of the Order, who Darth Malgus personally butchered when he raided the Jedi Temple in single combat. He fought and nearly lost to Satele Shan, who had help. Again, in the pure lightsaber duel itself, though, Malgus actually managed to cut her dual-bladed lightsaber in half.
Yeah.
So I would say pure lightsaber skill, that clearly shows that he was the superior duelist. And then his most impressive feat is he was able to kill in single combat Keo Sendarach. Keo Sendarach is the Zabrak Jedi that's in the first cinematic when Malgus is actually still an apprentice.
Yeah.
And Keo Sen manages to gravely injure Malgus's master, but Darth Malgus manages to take his master's blade, and it becomes clear that Keo Sendarach is just outmatched by Malgus. Malgus is just too physically imposing. And that kind of leads us into his lightsaber form. But real quick back on Keo Sendarach, I actually believe that that's his most notable victory, because Keo Sen was the battle master of the era. Meaning that he was deemed and set apart as one of the most proficient lightsaber duelists that the Jedi could offer, and he was familiar with all 7 forms of lightsaber combat. That's also, in fact, why his apprentice in Satele Shan was allowed to use a double-bladed lightsaber, because he was proficient enough to teach a student like that. Anyway, as far as the style that Malgus used, he's very similar to Anakin Skywalker. He used the dueling variant of Form 5 lightsaber combat, the Gemso, same as Anakin Skywalker. He's very quick with his movements, but they're also power-based. Every strike that Malgus generates is because of his own how physically imposing he is, and he uses the Force to sort of amplify that.
Yeah.
We've seen several times he can simply just smash down the guards of an opponent, most notably Keo Sendarach, who maybe skill-wise is a little bit superior to Malgus at that time. He's just so physically imposing, he can smash down their barriers and then get an opening. As far as critiques for Malgus, the only real critique that I have for him in lightsaber dueling is he can get tunnel vision occasionally. And if you kind of want to elaborate on that, we've discussed it.
Yeah, so he tends to get so distracted by his enemy or like he's so focused in the duel that he could start to lose awareness of his surroundings, and that could get the better of him. Very similar to Anakin in the fight on Mustafar, where he's so filled with hate, where the only thing he's thinking about is like killing Obi-Wan, and he's not so much paying attention to like the smartest fighting strategies or exactly where he is at the given time. That's why he gets bested when he's invading Alderaan, and he gets like thrown into that big rock wall, and it all comes crumbling down onto him. So as skilled of a fighter as he is, that is kind of like his one big weakness that he has.
His only noticeable chink in the armor, I would say, is just that he gets that tunnel vision.
Yeah.
But that's something that could have been easily overcome. Unfortunately, he didn't really. And that's why Satele Shan and the Republic troopers were able to get the upper hand on him for the moment. Because Satele used her environment to her advantage, and Malgus got the tunnel vision. As far as Force abilities, he very much used the Force to amplify his physical strength when concerning lightsaber dueling. He was proficient with the combative gifts of the dark side of the Force, but again, nothing super, super mystic or super advanced, with the exception of one ability, which I'll touch on in just a second. But I just want to say Malgus was a great Force lightning user, but his lightning was not on the level of Sith like Palpatine or Darth Bane.
Yeah.
He's just combatively minded. It would be like perhaps on the level of Dooku, or maybe a little less. And then he was very much, with his ability in the Force, brute with it. He would throw individuals around with his use of the Force. He would ragdoll them. We've seen him just completely break Jedi's necks with his use of the Force.
Yeah.
It's very brute, and it lacks a certain elegance, but that's okay because he's a warrior through and through. There is one Force ability, though, that Malgus uses, and that is Force Maelstrom. Force Maelstrom is one of the beginnings of what Darth Sidious called the most powerful dark side ability in all of Star Wars, that being a Force Storm. A Force Storm, if conjured appropriately, again, according to Sidious, and we saw this happen, he could literally scorch entire planet surfaces with his use of this ability. Malgus had the beginnings of this in Maelstrom, but not full-on Force Storms.
Yeah.
But I still considered that to be really, really, really impressive, even though he's not on the level of Sidious as far as his Force ability.
So how big would you say that Malgus's Force Maelstrom would be? Would it just be a very local surrounding just around him?
Like a room.
Yeah, just like a room.
You're right.
Yeah.
When Sidious could conjure it to
like an
literally
entire planet.
like go across planets and stuff. It's still impressive though that Malgus was able to be one of the pioneers of this ability that one day Darth Sidious would use to scorch entire planets. Yeah. It's super impressive.
It's really interesting, for sure.
Do you have any closing thoughts on Malgus?
I think he's just a really cool character, and as far as like his combative strength goes, which is his biggest attribute, I think it's cool that he's kind of like got the skill of an Anakin Skywalker, but like the size and strength of like a Darth Vader. And the way that like he has a really interesting story about how like he has this wife that he's absolutely in love with, and he realizes that his wife is his greatest weakness, and that you can't really have that if you're going to be like, this incredibly powerful Sith. So he kills his wife and then makes his greatest weakness now his greatest strength, where he could like use that anger to help him in combat, because as a Sith obviously you need to conjure anger. So he's just such a cool, powerful character. He's got a great design and everything. He's just a fun Old Republic character, for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep, Darth Malgus is awesome. He received high praise from Darth Sidious in the Book of the Sith, where it basically says that Malgus was the ultimate Sith warrior, and that's what he always desired in an apprentice, which I think that he ultimately got in the end. Darth Vader's very much a great warrior. Him and Malgus are very much neck and neck concerning their skills. So yeah, definitely one of my favorite Old Republic characters. Anyway, guys, we'd love to hear what you guys have to think about Darth Malgus, his skill in lightsaber combat, as well as his abilities in the Force. Is Darth Malgus one of your favorite characters, one of your least favorite characters? And where does he rank among Sith Lords like Bane, Sidious, and Vader? Do you think that he's more powerful, less powerful, or somewhere in the middle? Anyway, my friends, thank you so much for watching. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.